Good morning. Welcome to Draft Day.
Happy Draft Day, everybody.
Happy Draft Day. The big reveal, new hopes, change of fortune, and the introduction of the next great big stars. I'm Evan Messenger, Chief Revenue Officer of Hang. I'm thrilled to be on the stage with these three executives from the NFL who have worked tirelessly for this week's event to make it meaningful. So nice to see you all. Very quickly about Hang, we are a live stream digital platform that provides fans with what we think is a once-in-a-lifetime experience of actually watching the big game with the stars that they idolize and adore. We've done 40 hangs across all major sports. We've sourced 200 athletes, influencers, entertainers. We're reaching 15 million fans, where fans could actually mingle and meet with their sports heroes. Tonight we'll be doing a hang for the draft, where hundreds of thousands of fans will be hanging with Phil Simms, Marshall Faulk, and other NFL stars and legends. So let's hang out live, check it out, and thanks for the indulgence. Okay, to the team. All right. I'd like you guys to introduce yourself, but also in your roles and what most of us would think is a dream job. Why you love the draft so much. I know there's always a steady drumbeat of events throughout the year, and we all love our children equally, but I got the sense in our prep call that the draft is really important to you. So introduce yourself, but I have a question for Rhett. Think about it. You'll be the first one I throw a pass to. I was reading that in 1979, ESPN came to the NFL and said, we'd like to telecast the draft. And then the commissioner, Rozelle, said, thank you, but is anyone going to watch this? And here we are 50 years later, and the draft is integral to your consumer marketing strategy, must-see TV, and I'd love to hear after the introductions how it's evolved and why it's become so crucial.
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Before we introduce ourselves.
Thank you.
I guess we'll do you want to start? It is Rhett's favorite event, so it is mine too.
Did I do that right? Yeah. All right. Sure. I'll skip the introductions. Yeah, I mean, draft is my favorite event of the year. I just love that it brings all these fans together. There's hope, there's optimism. It involves every single one of our clubs, which is unique. Obviously, Super Bowl only features 2. Chiefs, congrats. So from that aspect, it's just a great event. I think since I've been here, I've been with the league for 12 years. I've seen the growth. I think we've all seen the growth of the draft. It once started, on ESPN, has now blossomed and sort of been built up to this, 360 viewership sort of, element of the draft, and then an on-the-ground, activation where fans, thousands and thousands of fans come in to watch it. I think maybe it was at 2015 when it moved from Radio City to Chicago, and that was really kind of a forcing function. I believe the events team was trying to schedule it again in Radio City, and there was just a scheduling issue. And so they ended up deciding, heck, let's take this road show, let's take it on the road. Let's take it to Chicago, see what happens, and really kind of turn it into more of a fan experience. And we saw just the groundswell. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people coming and hanging out and just being together, all very happy. Nobody's lost a game. So everybody's very happy. We're pulling in fans from all different markets, whether they're just locally, but also drive-by markets, fly-by markets. And so I think after that, it was like, we should obviously continue to do this. We're not dumb. And so, now, being here in Kansas City, one of my favorite cities, is really exciting for me. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm Jackie. I work with Rhett. and Marissa as well on our global brand and consumer marketing team, specifically around our events and our event marketing. So our brand campaigns, but also all of the work we do from a local attendance and ticket sales perspective is, a lot of work that our team does. This is my fourth year, my third year with the NFL, but my fourth draft. My first draft was virtual in Roger Goodell's basement in Bronxville. So that one was an interesting experience, but to get to come to Kansas City, which I've never been to Kansas City before, but I'm loving it. So thank you for the hospitality and just really excited to be here.
And I'm Marissa Solis. I lead the global brand and consumer marketing team, and I've only been with the league for about a year and a half. Draft is actually my favorite event as well. And I think it's because when you think about the marketing strategy for the league and what we're trying to accomplish, it's all about making the league much more approachable and human. And we call our strategy helmets off. And I think that is exactly what draft is. It is a non-game event, the only non-game tentpole that we have. And I think Rhett mentioned, it is about hope. And when you think about, the hope of each of the prospects to fulfill a lifelong dream, the hope of each of the fans, one pick can make the difference. For the Chiefs, one pick, has made a difference. And just to know that that's, on the clock and it's just such a great moment. And then from a fan perspective, again, it is a time of celebration. It is a time of joy. It is a time when all the teams and all the fans come together. So it's competition aside. It is the unifying force of our beautiful sport of football. So that's why draft is my most favorite of all the temples.
That's great. Let's continue on that line about maybe Jackie, Marissa, you can, what does the draft mean to the NFL family, the fans and the players? For me personally, as a rabid fan, I think it's a celebration of achievement, that you got the big job, and you got the job, and you're being honored in front of your family. I also love the draft for the fashion. I love what the players come on, and it's really a part of the helmets off, that the sense of humanity, of pride and hard work, and of course fame to follow. But I just think it's just a beautiful, poignant moment. So I'd love to just get your perspective of the impact it has on the NFL family.
It's as Rhett said, a massive undertaking and a massive event, and every single part of the family takes part in the draft. From a league perspective, every one of our departments is fully involved, but every one of the teams is fully involved, and plans, as Laura said, for months and sometimes years to put it together. I think at the highest of levels is what you said. It is the celebration. It's a welcoming to the family of these incredible young stars that represent the future of our sport. But it's also, even as you think from a marketing perspective, it used to be a business meeting, right? You were sitting in an auditorium at Radio City Music Hall, and you're basically having the teams, the clubs pick the players. Today, it is way more than a business meeting, and if you go out and see the stage, it's an entire, world of entertainment. From the time that Roger comes out, as you're welcoming the players, the verticals, as you said, just go and watch the red carpet and watch not only the fashion, but every single vertical. We have a group of over 20 creators here, creating content and generating content to bring in new fans. And it's a party. It's, in all the sense of the world, it's a great, great celebration that really sets the stage for the season to come.
Absolutely. Along with beautiful humility, I find, right? It's just really poignant. Jackie, did you?
Yeah, I was just going to add on to what Marissa said so well. It's just the new start, I think, of the draft and what it means to all different parts, right, of the NFL family. So we've talked about the prospects, the humility, the personality that you get to see. of the future stars, right? These are future Super Bowl winners, future Hall of Famers, but also to our fans, it's this sense of hopefulness that Rhett talked about, this sense of anticipation. It's a clean slate, and for the clubs, it's also their future, right? And so much preparation that goes into it. So I just love that draft as a non-live game can bring so many different parts of our NFL family together in a way that is a celebration.
Yeah, I mean, it's, excuse me, jeez. All right, yeah, there we go.
Choked
I'm
up
getting
by
choked
the
up.
draft,
You know, on its surface, it's guys in suits. I mean, that's what it is. It's guys on suits getting selected. And that, you know, if you just write that down and look at it, you go, that's not exciting. But it's, as you guys just said, it's so much more than that. I mean, we're seeing guys realize their dreams. I mean, they've been working, 20 plus years to get to this point, and it's all coming down to this. This is their moment. This is their one big moment, and it's authentic. I mean, it's real. And there's something really special about that. And then from a fan perspective, it's like, my team is going to get better. I mean, there's no doubt your team is going to get better. One of these guys, whether, he turns into a Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, but became, this guy, or he swings some Patrick Mahomes, he swings your team, and, you can go to the Super Bowl, or, helps your fantasy team. There's so many different sort of levels there, and I think that's what's most exciting about it.
I'd like to discuss the draft and how it impacts your consumer marketing and your advertising. And I think you have some videos to show the group. So, yeah.
Yeah, you guys want to tee this up, or are we?
Yeah, I mean, I can start. Yeah, so obviously every year, as I said, we work on our brand marketing. And for draft this year, we really started to look at draft through the lens of our fans. So previously, we used to run with a brand campaign, Take the Stage. You guys have probably seen it. We've had it around for a couple years. And it was all about current players sort of talking to future prospects and, talking about what their life will be like in the NFL and how excited they are, to join that NFL family. So this year, we worked with our advertising agency, 72 and Sunny, to really look at the draft through the lens of our fans and what it means to our fans. So again, what we're just talking about, this hopefulness, this excitement, this fresh start, and how one pick can really make a difference and even take the team to the Super Bowl. So that was really sort of the strategic lens that we looked at this year, and worked very closely with all of our different marketing teams to really bring it to life. So anything to add?
No, you nailed it.
Yeah, I will say,
Never mind.
no, just one thing to add is a huge part of our communication strategy, again, and what we've learned from our fans is the humility that comes with the NFL. And those two words kind of don't necessarily go together, NFL and humility, but we have found that it's that human approach that really connects. And in the past, the approach has always been, welcome to the league. You have made it, it's your dream, the league welcomes you. And what we realize is these guys are what's going to make the league better. It's about them. It is not about the league. And so Take the Stage became greatness is on the clock, because it is all about, you have 8, minutes for each of the clubs to determine their future, but it is about those guys. Each one of those prospects is going to bring something to us that, again, will make us better. So it's just that bit of a switch that I think makes the campaign so much more powerful.
Yeah, and I will say thank you for introducing the new tag. Greatness is on the clock. It's everywhere. So thank you to our incredible decor and on-site team for bringing it to life. So keep an eye out for it. But it's the anticipation, right? The clock is such a incredible icon of the draft and the ticking of the clock, but it's the anticipation as that time goes down. So not the anxiety, but just the anticipation of what's coming up and what's coming next. And so really utilizing that to do exactly what Marissa just said. But yes, greatness is on the clock. We're super thrilled about it, so keep an eye out for it.
And I think we're going to play them.
Yeah.
One pick, and we can take the north. One pick away from running to the whole NFC. Not if you run into them boys. You got more burgers than Raiders. The Raiders are gonna run this route.
Hot take, Joe. Not as I was our next pick.
my favorite. My favorite is Nichols.
Good evening and welcome to the NFL Draft. Hey, Commish.
I think, Laura, you mentioned rituals, right? And the importance of fan rituals. And that is such a key ritual. And, you know, sometimes, again, in the spirit of humility, you kind of have to.
The commissioner loves it, guys.
The commissioner does love it.
We argued who had to show him that spot.
Who did show that
Yeah,
spot?
our
Was it you
CMO.
or the-
No.
Tim did show that spot to Roger. You can ask Tim later about how that went, but he actually loved it. So because it is the ritual, you know, you're truly representing what the fans love. So
Great, beautiful work. Beautiful. Anything more you'd like to speak about on the draft? I have a couple of other questions that are non-draft related. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, Jackie, do you want to talk about maybe I'm throwing it to you. Here we go.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want to talk about the local sort of piece? Because I think that's a big element.
Yeah, so as I said, you know, our team does a lot of the brand work, but we also work very closely with our events team, just first class, really. If you've seen the stage, it's unreal. But we work with them really closely to drive attendance or ticket sales to any of the experiences or activations that they execute at all of our tent poles. So obviously this year, or right here in Kansas City, our incredible draft experience, which Laura and team have their incredible Chiefs Kingdom experience within. But yeah, so basically working really closely with our events team to make sure that our fans, whether they're local or they're coming in for the event, really get to experience the NFL brand in all of its entirety, and to, you know, to be aware that the event, for example, this year is free. So it's a great way to get families out there, to spend the day, to sit on the beautiful lawn, and just really interact with all of the different elements of the NFL. We've got, you know, the Vince Lombardi Trophy out there. We've got the rings. Just, you know, players who are coming and will autograph. It's just a really great one-to-one sort of fan engagement with people who want to come out for the entire day. This year, we are over 250,000, I think is the number, which is unbelievable, the amount of fans who want to come out and be there across the next 3 days. So we're super thrilled and excited about that. But we work very closely, you know, with our creative team. We thread through our tagline, so greatness is on the clock is included in all of the creative that we did from a local event marketing perspective. We work really closely with our paid media team to make sure that we're targeting the fans that we want to be targeting. And so just a lot of work that goes into driving attendance and making sure that, you know, we've got fans coming out across the 3 days.
I mean, we kind of talked a little bit about the avidness of this event, and I think from a local perspective, it's really turned into a more casual, even non-fan event. And I think the integration of our concert series with Fall Out Boy and Motley Crue for some of the older folks.
Who was that again?
The Crew. But yeah, I think, you know, that's been a great addition, I think, just to the overall experience, and I think we're gonna see that continue and, of course, evolve and elevate.
I will give a big shout out to the Chiefs and Laura and Jenny, and everyone at the Chiefs, because truly the fan base in Kansas City is unlike any I've seen, and I think you guys are taking the club activation to the next level, which again elevates the draft to the next level. So that collaboration and seeing that much engagement from the host club, which happens to be the Super Bowl champion, so that's always great, has been fantastic. And so hopefully in the future, as we go to different cities, we will continue that collaboration with the host team. So thank you.
2 quick questions. If we have time, I'll open it up to the audience. So in the creative, which was stunning, I observed you had some of the key targets that we spoke about in our prep call: Latinx, youth, and women. And I know you've been focused on that. And I wanted to discuss there's a lot of evidence today in sports that the millennial and Gen Z audience is moving away from traditional live game sports and going to kind of shorter attention span media like social platforms with clips and video highlights. I'd love to know your perspective on how the NFL is addressing that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And what you saw there is basically our linear communication. There is a massive effort around building content. Our influencer team is the best of the best. There's actually an experience for the draft called the car wash. So when a player gets selected and hugs Roger and gets his cap, they actually walk behind and go through an experience where they get to call their families, they get to write to their loved ones, they get to experience through AI, do a photo shoot, and they really go through a series of experiences that with some of our corporate sponsor partners, with some of our media partners, we get to really give them a taste of what it's going to be like to be part of the NFL family. And all of that content in short form gets placed in all sorts of channels, whether it's our owned and operated channels for the NFL, our corporate partnership channels, our club channels, and that's a real way to, again, show that helmet's off, that real moment when they just found out and how they're feeling, and share it out. And that's really what our younger folks love to do. They want to engage with our players in a personal level, right? Beyond the game, they want to know, who were they wearing on the red carpet? What was the first reaction? Who did they first call when they found out? How do they feel about their team, their new team? All of these things we want to capture. And so it's part of the experience. But I would say that is the way we will continue to engage, particularly with our younger audiences, because content is going to be king, right? And 365, 24/7 content that never ends.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, I mean, definitely youth, I think, is probably everyone in this room's priority from an audience standpoint, in addition to women and Latina. What's so incredible about the draft that we didn't talk about, but I think Marissa just alluded to, is for our young, up-and-coming fan base, right, the people that we want to bring into the fold and make them into avid, lifelong fans, the easiest connection to our young target audience is the players and the player personalities. So, we have data and statistics around, the young Gen Z or double A, whatever, the double alpha, they connect so much quicker and more authentically with players than they do with clubs to begin with. And so draft, I think, is such a great opportunity to connect with that audience because we showcase the player personalities and we create those connections with the hope that they then follow those players to their future club, and that becomes a lifelong club fandom, pretty much. So that's another incredible, I think, part of draft that we didn't talk about, but just for fandom overall.
Okay. So my last question is more to each of you from professional as brand executives. So the NFL is one of the most successful businesses in America. In terms of a sports league, you dominate viewership, fan base, you're poised for international growth. I would suggest that to understand this country, one has to understand the NFL. That as an entertainment institution, you wield enormous influence on American culture. And wondering if you agree with that, but how does that play into your day-to-day roles? I mean, that's powerful, to be able to connect a property with impact on culture, both personally and just all you do in your work. And then part B of that question, sorry for the speech, is given the success and continued success, is there anything that keeps you up at night professionally about what's going on in the NFL?
Who wants to start?
Yeah.
Who wants to start?
That's Marissa.
Marissa's like,
I can take this.
Marissa keeps
well,
you up at night?
I
No.
I actually sometimes, yeah, there's like night texts, like, we got to get this done.
Yeah, to be fair, Rhett's on the West Coast and we're East Coast, so Rhett does keep us up at night.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, I think, Marissa, kind of curious to kind of hear your opinion on this one, but, you know, I think that we, and Evan, I think, great, I think there's a couple things that we try to do and try to strive for on the marketing side. And I think where Jackie and I fit into that structure is all around kind of joy of football, what football brings to fans. And that's mostly sort of dedicated to our core fan and our casual fan. But I think what we're doing on the social side, just around some of our cause efforts, has been a huge focus for us over the last several years. And I think, you know, what Marissa does with kind of her other side of the team, I think really kind of speak to that. So I don't know if you want to kind of dive into some of the cause work that we've
Well,
done.
I'll just say, to answer your question, I came to the league a year and a half ago from after 18 years at PepsiCo. So much like Laura and Jenny, you know, from the CPG side, and, you know, when Tim, which you'll hear from later, when Tim Ellis recruited me, I couldn't get away from the way he positioned the power of the league, right? What you're talking about in terms of, it is arguably the biggest platform in America. And for a marketer to be able to have that platform to tell the stories that I feel we need to tell, right? There's so many, you know, in our country today, as you said, football is a unifier. I mean, you can be a Chiefs fan or a Cowboys fan and still be unified
Not a
about,
Cowboys fan.
about a play or about, you know, the sport. The sport brings people together, which is beautiful. But I also believe that we have an obligation, because we're such a massive platform in America, to lift up voices of, you know, those that are, you know, not heard. And so a lot of the work that we do off the field, right, where we transcend the game, is about going into those local communities. It is about connecting with those communities that are sometimes ignored. And so the power of seeing those communities, lifting them up through our clubs, through the players, is something very special. And yes, our corporate sponsors are involved, our coaches, our players. I mean, it truly is the power of the NFL family coming together to do good. It is something unbelievable that I think brought me to the league, and, you know, will continue.
How rewarding professionally for you, right? Absolutely.
Marissa, what keeps you up at night?
Besides Rhett.
You know, many things keep me up at night. I will mention one that I think, Laura, you mentioned, and there were some questions around, and it is content. The pressure to always be creating content, and then just the massive proliferation and segmentation of media and channels. And, you know, we can't, those commercials you saw, that's great, but not all of our fan base is gonna see that, right? They're not watching linear. And so we gotta make sure that we're on mobile and we're streaming and we're on YouTube and we're on all sorts of different platforms, bringing content that they want, right? And that audience is fickle. They're not gonna just sit and watch, like you said, a 4.5, sometimes 5-hour game. So you gotta be super creative and super resourceful to keep them. And that keeps me up at night. It keeps me up because I'm excited about it, but it's also a tremendous challenge for all of us in this room. So that's, I think, what most keeps me up.
I don't know if we have much time. I want to say for some questions, but really nice to meet you three, and congratulations on the draft. So we'll open it up. Alex?
So obviously the NFL has obviously a ratings stronghold, right, in terms of always having like top 30 year after year. Super Bowl obviously, so it's without mention. But when you look at you guys going over to YouTube TV for Sunday Ticket, I mean that was a huge move considering the power you guys have in the rating space. Was that something that you guys saw like ahead of, like, hey, linear TV is going to decrease in viewership, we're jumping ahead of it? Like, what was kind of the background of the reason
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously DirecTV is a little different than YouTube TV, and I think that we see that as a real opportunity to reach cord cutters. I mean, I think what's really exciting about Sunday TV, or excuse me, Sunday Ticket this year is that you don't need to have a subscription to YouTube TV. You can get it as a standalone package, which is something that is new and different, and we hope that we can reach kind of those younger fans that we've talked about, which is obviously critical to the health and really the growth of our sport. So I think that was kind of it. I don't know if there's any other sort of
Yeah, I would just
thoughts
say,
behind it.
again, how our fan base is consuming the game is changing massively. And we can't wait 10 years for the new deals, right, to come. We have to start engaging with our audiences in new ways now. We saw tremendous success with Amazon. And, you know, the first time ever streaming live games. And that relationship is wonderful and great and will continue. Now with YouTube and Sunday Ticket, you know, we have the power to reach new audiences, reach them in many different spaces. And we also, through the relationship, now have expanded our relationship with creators. So that's a big part of our partnership with Google and YouTube is making sure that we also have that partnership with creators that, again, are talking about the game in very different ways, talking about the league in very different ways, and reaching new audiences that we otherwise couldn't reach through linear.
I mean, the Amazon piece last year obviously was new, and I think that there was a lot of concerns just internally of, hey, for fans who go to Fox or NBC to watch those games, this is a big change, like for especially older fans. How do I watch Amazon? How do I watch Thursday Night Football? And I think that we worked hand in hand with the Amazon team to really kind of drive awareness of this sort of new way to watch, so to speak, for a lot of fans. And I think that what we saw were huge success, especially in the beginning of the season when we launched that with Amazon, that we kind of felt confident that we could do something a little different, especially as it relates to Sunday Ticket. So I think just seeing the success of that, I think sort of brought over this new thought with YouTube TV and YouTube.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.